I'm just going to say it right now. In my opinion, the San Antonio Spurs won this draft. You pick up Stephon Castle. Now, if you don't know about him, he played for UConn as a freshman, and he was a phenomenal defender. He got better as the season went on. He has playmaking abilities. He's a slasher. Now, he does need to work on his jump shot, but he can get better at that, right? He still shot 47% from the field, and I believe he shot over 75% from the free throw line. So his upside is scary. But now you have a point of attack defender to help Wembanyama. And for the Spurs, they also traded their 8th pick. I know that was Rob Dillingham, who went to the Timberwolves, but he picked up the 2030 and 2031 pick. The reason why that's important, because draft capital is going to matter with the new salary cap that's going to come into effect for this season and moving forward. So what the Spurs did here is, it's not the best draft class, but you picked up a point guard, which you need. You get another year of Jeremy Sohan. We'll see how he pans out. You have Zach Collins. I think for the Spurs right now, you're in a great spot because next year you have the Hornets pick, which is protected between 1 and 14, and the Bulls pick, which is protected from 1 to 10. They still are going to have their first round pick and their second round pick, and they have the Hawks first round pick, which is unprotected. So you got all this draft capital, and next year's draft is going to be loaded with talent. So I love what San Antonio is doing here. And I'm excited for Wemby because he's going to have a reliable guard. I think San Antonio can go in 2 different directions here. They can either get some veteran help, which I think could make them better and give them a playoff push potentially, or you can just go another season where you just tank and get a top draft pick. Like, I love what the Spurs did here because they got better, and Stephon Castle also played for a championship team, so you get some experience playing in pressure situations, and now you come to an organization which in my opinion is phenomenal. They have 5 championships for a reason, and here's the scary part. They're really good at finding players late in the draft. So imagine next year, I think they got like 7 draft picks. It's ridiculous what the Spurs are doing. In 3 to 5 seasons, I wouldn't be surprised if they are a dominant team. You talk about a team that's building things the right way. Stephon Castle can guard. Obviously, you got to get better on offense, but he moves his feet well on defense. He can guard wings, and he can guard point guards and shooters. So you've got some flexibility with his defensive presence out there. Now, I think right now for the Spurs, you got to figure out what's next. Do you want to bring in some veteran leadership to build out this roster? Because I still think they need some bench help. You still got Zach Collins, who I like as the power forward next to Wemby. And, we'll see what Jeremy Sohan does next year. And you still have Trey Jones as well. So there's a lot of upside with the Spurs. You got better in the draft. And now, obviously, this isn't the best draft class. But, man, the Spurs won this one easily to me, in my opinion. Because now you got future picks. Next year, they're going to hit somebody. Somebody's going to come in for San Antonio next year, and they're going to make an impact right away. So the Spurs are sitting pretty. And I love this pickup. I like his upside. And, being a guy from UConn, UConn guys turn out to be pretty good in the NBA. Richard Hamilton, Kemba Walker. They got a dog in Stephon Castle. So Spurs fans, you guys should be excited because you're building the identity here, which is on the defensive side of the ball. I think what they should do next is find some veteran leadership. I don't know who they could bring in, but maybe through a trade. And if you can continue to pick up draft picks like they did tonight, whew. And I wonder who they're going to pick up next. If they find a steal in the second round and they become, an important piece to this organization. Whew, scary times, So all the teams who are trying to compete now, get your titles now. Because in 3 to 5 seasons, I think the Spurs are going to be scary good. And they're just getting started here. So, you pick up those picks and you can utilize those picks for another trade. It's just going to be interesting what they do the rest of the offseason. Do they want to compete now? Because, again, they got the luxury, too, with those picks from Charlotte and Chicago. Because I think Chicago and Charlotte are going to be terrible next year. Because, again, Chicago traded away Alex Caruso for Josh Giddey. And they're probably going to go into a full rebuild mode very soon. And then, the Hornets are the Hornets. Can LaMelo Ball stay healthy? So the Spurs are sitting pretty right now. You can go next season and try to push for a playoff spot. Or you can just sit there and say, you know what? Let's just win a few games and get another top draft pick. I just love what they're doing here. And Stephon Castle is a great pickup for the Spurs. I just love this move. Again, you bring a guy in who has some experience in pressure situations. He can guard the ball. and he has versatility. And that's what the Spurs are looking for. Now they just got to figure out what's next. But man, great night for the Spurs, and I'm excited where they're headed. And just in case you don't know about what the Spurs have ahead for next year, they got Atlanta's pick, which is unprotected, first round. They have their own first and second round pick for next year. They have Chicago's first round pick, which is protected between 1 and 10. So obviously if it doesn't fall within that line, they lose that pick. You have the Hornets pick, which is protected 1 through 14. You have the Chicago Bulls second round pick. And on top of that, you have the Pelicans second round pick. So again, they have a lot of draft capital. And it's just really about, man, do we really want to make a push here? And maybe they will just end up getting closer to the playoffs next year. I don't know, because they're still rebuilding. But how they're building this is beautiful. And again, draft picks are going to matter in the NBA because the cap is going to change. So you need those draft picks either to trade or to pick up players to develop. And the Spurs, to me, in my opinion, can develop players. We see them. They drafted Manu Ginobili. They drafted Tony Parker. They drafted Tim Duncan. They drafted David Robinson. So they're used to building from the ground up. Excited for the Spurs. I think Victor's going to have another great season next year. And, they're going to build chemistry. I love Vassell. He's a great shooter. They just got to figure out what they're going to do with Jeremy Sohan. I know they were experimenting this season with the point guard position and playmaking. We'll see how that pans out for next season. But bringing in Castle is a great move by the Spurs. So, yeah, we'll see what happens next. Hope you guys enjoyed this video today. Love to hear your thoughts on what the Spurs did tonight. Do you think they won the draft? I think they did, in my opinion. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. And I'll see you in the next one.